So now I'm gonna discuss to you the account or the differing accounts of the events of 1872. There are two primary accounts exist that seem to counter the account of Izquierdo and Montero, and the first one would be from Dr. Pardo de Tavera and Edmond Plasher. So, before I discuss to you the two primary accounts, let us define what the Central Spanish Government means. So, Central Spanish Government introduced an educational decree fusing sectarian schools run by the friars into a school called the Philippine Institute. It aimed to improve the standard of education in the Philippines by requiring teaching positions in the schools to be filled by competitive examinations, an improvement welcomed by most Filipinos. So, the first account is written by Dr. Trinidad Pardo de Tavera. He is a Filipino scholar and a researcher. He also wrote a Filipino version of the bloody incident of Cavite. In this account, it stated that in that time, the central government of Madrid had announced its intention na kuhaon ang power sa mga friars when it comes to civil government and direction and management of the university. Moong tungod ani ng mga promises, Filipinos had great hopes of an improvement in the affairs of the country. While the friars, on the other hand, they feared that their power in the colony would soon be a complete thing of the past. According to Pardo de Tavera, the incident was merely a mutiny by Filipino soldiers and liberators of Cavite Arsenal to the dissatisfaction arising from the draconian policies of Izquierdo. So, because wala man tayo president at that time, because we are colonized by the Spaniards, si Izquierdo ang Governor General of the Philippines. So, he abolished some privileges of the Filipino people, and he also prohibited the founding of schools of arts and trades. And some example of privileges is like ang soldiers and ang manggagawa or mga laborers is exempted to pay tax. But because of draconian policies of Izquierdo, na-abolish na tanan. And because sa ani na policies, ang kanang mga opening of schools kay na-pause. And because sa ani, murag na dissatisfy ang mga Filipino people tungod ani na mga policies. Tavera is of the opinion that the Spanish friars and Izquierdo used the Cavite mutiny as a way to address other issues by blowing out of proportion the isolated mutiny attempt. The friars used the mutiny as an opportunity for them to continue their dominance in the country. So the next primary account is written by Edmond Plasher. He is a French writer. He also complemented Tavera's account and analyzed the motivation of 1872 Cavite Mutiny. Excerpts from Plasher's account of Cavite Mutiny. So, General Latorre created a junta composed of high officials, including some friars and 6 Spanish officials. And government in Madrid was created a committee to investigate the same problems submitted to Manila Committee. When the two finished work, it was found that they came to the same conclusions. So, here is the summary of the reforms they consider necessary to introduce. So, there are 9 of them, and you can pause the video to read this. According to Plasher, the arrival in Manila of General Izquierdo put a sudden end to all dreams of reforms. Such a policy must really end in a strong desire on the part of the other to repress cruelly. So the persecution instituted by the new Governor General, which is Izquierdo, were expected as a result of a better disputes between sa mga Filipino clerics or mga Filipino priests and the friars or the Spanish priests. So in regards to school in that time, it was previously decreed that there should be in Manila a Society of Arts and Trades to be opened in March of 1871 to repress the growth of liberal teachings. But General Izquierdo suspended the opening of the school the day before the inauguration. and then the Filipinos had a duty to render services on public roads construction and pay taxes every year. But those who were employed at the Maestranza of Artillery, in the engineering shops and arsenal of Cavite, were exempted from these obligations from time immemorial. Without preliminaries of any kind, a decree by the governor withdrew from such old employees their retirement privileges and disqualified them into the ranks of those who work on public roads. The friars used Cavite Mutiny as a part of a larger conspiracy to cement their dominance. They showcased the mutiny as a part of greater conspiracy in the Philippines by Filipinos to overthrow the Spanish government. Unintentionally, it resulted in the martyrdom of Gomburza. It paved way to the revolution culminating in 1898. So, ang mga friars ato mga Spanish friars, kay iyang giuse ang Cavite Mutiny para kanang makuan gani ilang di sila mawagtang og power or dominance ato ang country. And gishow sad nila na ang mga Filipinos daw kay nag-revolt or nag-alsa kay para ma-overthrow nila ang Spanish government. And because of that, na-result siya sa pagkamatay sa Gomburza or sa atong tulo ka pari. Gomburza is the collective name of the three martyred priests Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, who were tagged as the masterminds of the Cavite Mutiny. The Gomburza were prominent Filipino priests charged with treason and sedition, and it is believed that ang mga Spanish clergy connected the priest to the mutiny as a part of conspiracy to stifle the movement of secular priests, kay ang mga sa una manggod ang priest and the government is usara, and the priest or the Filipino priests or the native clergy desired to have their own parishes instead of being merely assistants to the regular friars. The Gomburza were executed by garrote in public, as seen purportedly re-witnessed by a young Jose Rizal. The martyrdom of the three priests is widely accepted as the dawn of Philippines nationalism in the 19th century, with Rizal dedicating his second novel, ang El Filibusterismo, to their memory. Kay diba si Jose Rizal, he witnessed man unsa pagkamatay o pagkapatay ang tulo ka pari or ang Gomburza. So this is what he wrote. The government, by enshrouding your trial in mystery and pardoning your co-accused, has suggested that some mistakes was committed when your fate was decided, and the whole of the Philippines, in paying homage to your memory and calling you martyrs, totally rejects your guilt. The Church, by refusing to degrade you, has put in doubt and crime charge against you.